Welcome to Cinemagna. In today's video, we will showcase the UK world premiere video of the 2022 Apple TV series titled The Essex Serpent. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel to be notified when new videos are released. The Essex Serpent is an upcoming television series based on the novel of the same name by Sarah Perry. The series is written by Anna Simon and directed by Cleo Barnard. It is set to premiere on Apple TV Plus on 13 May 2022. The Essex Serpent follows London widow Chorus Seaborn, Claire Danes, who moves to Essex to investigate reports of a mythical serpent. She forms an unlikely bond with the village vicar played by Tom Hiddleston, but when tragedy strikes, locals accuse her of attracting the creature. The series is starring Claire Danes, Tom Hiddleston, Frank Dillane, Clemence Posey, Hayley Squires. The Essex Serpent is executive produced and directed by Cleo Barnard. Without much further ado, please enjoy the Essex Serpent world premiere video.
She's had a great interest in the natural sciences, and there's rumor of a serpent in Essex, and kind of as an excuse to free herself from this gilded cage that she's been living in London, she goes in pursuit of it, and the serpent serves as a metaphor for her anxieties and fears and everybody else in the stories as well. I think it's kind of quietly radical, the novel, and hopefully our interpretation of it. It's kind of like it's sort of like a story of the exile of Eden, but without the sense of shame. And it's quite feminist for that reason. It talks about love and sex and death as all kind of one integrated experience. Yeah, I just was really attracted to the themes of the story. It was a fantastic team. We all happen to be female and share very similar values, and we tried our darndest to articulate them together creatively.
I'm Clémence Poésy and I play Stella Renson. Oh my god, it's the arrival of Cora Seaborn in a little seaside town where a mysterious serpent has been seen, apparently, by villagers. And it's a clash between lots of things, religion and science. Everything she's wearing she could have made, and there's a sort of sense Stella has a sort of very happy sense of domesticity and of making things and of making life around her beautiful, and that's sort of reflected in the costumes, I think.
We are here for the special screening of The Essex Serpent for Apple TV+. It's based on a novel by Sarah Perry, which came out about 6 years ago. It's set in 1893 in London and Essex. There has been, and there really was, an earthquake which dislodged all sorts of fossils in the Essex landscape, which has created a curiosity about archaeology. And we have to remember this is a time when Darwin has just published The Origin of the Species. So science and reason are starting to become a very progressive way of understanding the world. A teenage girl has gone missing. Something's bumping into the fishing boats. Has the Essex Serpent, the ancient winged dragon that lives beneath the Blackwater estuary, come back and been awakened by the earthquake? And this rumour starts to spread like wildfire around the community, into which our heroine, Cora Seaborn, played by Claire Danes, arrives because she's curious about the archaeology side of it, and she finds a very God-fearing and faithful community who find meaning in their faith, destabilized by their superstition. And there begins our story. I find when I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to play a character that's based on a book, the novelists Sarah Perry, John le Carre in The Night Manager, for example, they give the actors so much interiority, because authors are always getting inside the hearts and minds of their characters. What they're thinking, what they're feeling, it's beneath the surface of what they're doing and saying. So reading the book was really helpful. I had never been to that part of Essex, and I found it incredibly evocative and inspiring. Because on the far east coast, the easternmost east coast of England, I think if you swam from the North Sea there, you'd get to Denmark, and it's very tidal and wet and windy and very atmospheric. It's where Turner used to go and paint, and he painted these extraordinary sunsets and extraordinary skies, and it's so much about the story, so much about that landscape and how treacherous it can be if you get caught by the tide. And the Blackwater estuary is quite serpentine. It's viewed from the air, it looks like a snake. And I was surprised by it. It's obviously a very ancient part of England. I've admired Clio Barnard for a long time. We met about 10 years ago at the London Film Festival, and we both remember that meeting actually, and it was really nice to work with her because I've always admired her from a distance. Her films, The Selfish Giant, Dark River, The Arbor. I thought Anna Simon's screenplays were incredibly deep. They seemed to have the texture of the novel, but they also had something very tangible and very raw. The landscape is very wild, and that mirrors something turbulent about the passions of the characters, which is quite unfettered and wild too. So I thought Anna really captured that. Sarah's novel, she's so generous and so open, and we had many conversations. I was trying to kind of just borrow as much of her own research as I could. Yeah, it was an amazing team, and Andrea Cornwell, our producer, amazing women leading our cast, Claire Danes, Clémence Poésy, Hayley Squires. It was a great team, and I enjoyed making it so much. It was really meaningful.
Hi, I'm Frank Delane and I play Luke Garrett. The story of the Essex Serpent revolves around Cora Seaborn, who is a woman whose husband has just died, and she is beginning her new life without him. He was quite an abusive man, so she has a very curious temperament and moves to Essex to hunt this mythical beast that is being reported in the newspapers as the Essex Serpent. Clio was fantastic, an amazing director to work with. Her great talent was she made the set feel so open to exploration, and it was a real joy to go into work every day.
My name is Jerry Kearns and I played Henry Banks in the Essex Serpent. It's a love story of two worlds colliding in kind of the Dickensian time, and it's about community and love and friendship and trust and characters in that community. How flat it was and the way the light travelled was absolutely gorgeous. It would have been brilliant. It would have been a dream for the DOP and some of the shots they could do with that. Yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous, and it was great, you know, all the nature and the outdoors and shooting on location. It's always fab shooting on location, it's great. Crew, the production team, the cast, everyone, you know, the companies who wanted to tell the story and make it work, to pool that all together, I think is brilliant. I think it's beautiful, would be the answer, simple as that.
My name is Jamel Westman and I play George Spencer. At the core of it, it's about love, sometimes in some cases unrequited love, or love in a hard time. I think people have felt that over the past few years, that love is sometimes hard to find. People feel like they have to live for themselves. But this is kind of like a radical love in the face of hardship. And it's also about friendship, actually, at the core of everything. It was a beautiful story, really, really beautifully told. And it just speaks about all those little intricacies of relationships, interpersonal relationships that we all feel and is universally felt, but sometimes don't get to express. So it really spoke to that, and it's never left me. So I'm really excited to see it. It was joy. It was actually like it was really uplifting, and just allows a type of freedom that you don't often get sometimes on sets, particularly in like a male-dominated space. Not to say that doesn't allow for it, but there was just something really refreshing about that. To be fair, in my current experience, it's kind of been the norm in filming. I've had the joy of really working with like an all-female crew and creative team, and so there's something really touching and beautiful about that. And so I was just really grateful to be in that space.
My name's Michael Gibson and I play Matthew Evansford in the Essex Serpent. What I will say is that it's about a community down in Essex that gets a taste of London life, and it's about fear and hearsay and love and mystery and a little bit of magic as well, let's say. My character is very fearful of everything and very God-fearing. So I suppose he's kind of like a kind of interfering local councillor who likes telling everybody what to do and scaring everybody with gossip and hearsay and fear. The mud. There was a lot of mud involved filming down in Essex. Unfortunately for my character, I didn't get to shoot in any of the nice London studios, so we did it all down in Essex. But of course, it was great fun, and we were filming in lots of on the actual estuaries themselves. You know, in the mud, and the elements were around. It's a very windy and cold time of year, so it was quite exciting and challenging for the crew and everybody to shoot scenes. You know, Clio is, you know, the captain of this ship that was just. She's just such a lovely person and so thorough in the way that she works with her actors. You know, there was a little bit of rehearsal before we got on set, and everything it just felt like we were just kind of we were just having a really nice time down in Essex. And of course, you could see that there was a real collaboration going on between all of the departments, and I think that was because of all of these brilliant ladies who were kind of collaborating with each other from the top. And it was obviously, you know, coming down into the different departments, and certainly on set, we were all having such a lovely time.
I'm Jamie Lawrence, and I'm one of the executive producers on the show.
My name's Hakan Kuseta, and I'm one of the executive producers on the show. The setting of the show is somewhere I don't think we've really sort of seen before. We filmed it in the heart of Essex and in the most sort of rural, sort of atavistic environment probably you could imagine. So.
It explores, as I said, fear of the unknown. It also explores, it's a love story at its heart, and it explores love in all its forms. I think that's what is the biggest takeaway, I think, from the show.
Yeah, and also the kind of clashing of traditional sort of thinking, religious thinking, versus sort of modern, scientific, rational sort of concepts, really.
Our leads are amazing, but the whole ensemble are brilliant, and it's down to them that such an extraordinary world is created.
Yeah, they were absolute troopers. We shot this in the height of COVID. It was incredibly challenging. You know, making television is always really hard anyway, but it was doubly hard actually in real terms, and they were just fantastic all the way through.
I'm Anna Simon, and I wrote the screenplay for the series The Essex Serpent. The Essex Serpent is a very contemporary story in the sense that it doesn't hold back in the way that a lot of period dramas do on the emotional sort of intimacy of the characters, and it really has a very modern take, I think, in the way that we look at the women in particular in the series. There's nothing restrained about it. We really get to the kind of guts of what these people are about. It's been a real pleasure working with Clio Bernard. As sort of women behind the camera, I think we had a really special responsibility to kind of make sure that we made the female gaze at the heart of the show. And Clio was incredibly brave in the choices that she made and made it incredibly female-centric, which was really exciting to be part of. Audiences can expect a mystery at the heart of the show. The show opens with the idea that this serpent has come to haunt the people of a village in Essex. So it's very atmospheric. You're trying to work out, does this serpent exist or not? At the same time, there's an incredible love story running through it between the central characters, but also a story of friendship and a story of women finding their place in the world.
My name's Clio Barnard, and I'm the director of The Essex Serpent. It's set in 1893, and I suppose what is different about it is that is the Essex landscape, and in a way the way Sarah Perry understands Essex, in a way you may never have seen Essex before. It explores fear and uncertainty and how we need to learn to live with it, really, and how if we project our fears out into the world and we act on them, they become manifest. So I think it's quite relevant. The characters that Sarah created and that Anna Simon brought to onto the screen through her adaptation of it, really we had a lot to get our teeth into and a lot to play with, and it was challenging but incredibly rewarding in terms of working with them, because they're two such brilliant and experienced actors. It was a real, I feel really lucky.
Brilliant. My name is Ian Canning, and I'm an executive producer on The Essex Serpent. I think it's so fresh, and I think the performances are so sort of strong and raw. And I think you get that in certain miniseries, but I don't know, there's a sort of eeriness, a sort of special eeriness, and Clio's done such an extraordinary job as a filmmaker with Anna's scripts. There's a sort of unique rawness to it, I think. Claire's character in particular shows us a woman who is sort of relieved of the shackles of her sort of husband's control at the start of the show, and then is able to live as much of a free life as she was able to within the context of the time. So I think it is just forthright and, bold, I think.
I'm Patrick Walters. I'm an executive producer of The Essex Serpent. The source material that it's based on, the novel by Sarah Perry, is just distinctive, interesting. It paints a picture of Victorian society that, you know, feels unusual and exciting, and that the characters are very passionate and headstrong and take you on a journey. The story explores loads of different themes, but for me, I love how it treats platonic love and romantic love and says that they can both coexist side by side.
I'm Sarah Perry and I wrote the novel The Essex Serpent. It's really extraordinary and kind of a huge privilege to be taken back into a story that meant so much to me at the time. I wrote it quite a long time ago, so I feel like I've gone in a time machine and somehow everyone's climbed inside my imagination, so it's been really wonderful. My thesis writing the novel was that the Victorians were a modern people. I didn't want to write a novel where women were shown to be fainting away in the corner, having just delivered their 9th child, not allowed to leave the house, or where politics didn't really exist and there was street urchins and pea supers. It was a modern age. There was anaesthesia, there was heart surgery, there was socialism, there was proto-feminism. Women were working in medicine, engineering, maths, the sciences. So I decided to show the Victorian age as a modern age and Victorian women as being modern women, which they were. I think the key theme is that of friendship and varieties of friendship and different kinds of love, and I know that readers of the novel are sometimes quite shocked by all the different types of intimacy and friendship that are displayed, and I really enjoy that, and I'm hoping that the audience will be kind of challenged and surprised by some of the relationships, and I really hope that it will help put an end to the idea that Victorian women never left the house, because that's a falsehood that has needed correcting for a really long time, and I'm only one of many writers who have tried to revert that impression, and I know this series will do that as well.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released.